What up, guys? J&J Reviews here, and it is finally here, our top 10 movies of the year 2016. We already did. If you go back, you can watch our recap where we ran down any movies that we didn't already do a review for in preparation. We still had a few movies to see before we made this list. So, Jamin, how you feeling about the year 2016 and your list?
I'm doing really well, and I think the list is going to be interesting. It's based on enjoyment, but hey, I think most of the movies I would gladly recommend to anybody.
Yeah, these are our personal lists. We're not doing the best cinematically made movies of the year. Again, like you said, it's based on enjoyment. So let's kick it off. Do you have any honorable mentions for us?
Yeah, so honorable mention. Well, first off, I want to make a disclaimer. I have not seen La La Land yet, so that is a big one that's going to be on honorable mentions. But yes, so that is probably going to be on there regardless. Another one, Zootopia. Zootopia definitely makes a list, being probably the best animated movie of the year, by far. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that movie. Another movie that I saw very recently, The Lobster. Very interesting movie because it was just really strange and different, but yet it was a really good one that I'd recommend just checking out. So those are some couple that I think I was really considering putting on the list, but I didn't. So
yeah, I agree. Definitely Zootopia, also my favorite animated movie of the year, couldn't make my list. And The Lobster is also one of my honorable mentions because it's so different. I think the last act kind of trailed off a little bit for me compared to how great the first act was, but it was so unique. I was I didn't know what was going to happen. It was one of those movies.
Yeah.
But a few of my honorable mentions, I had Sing Street, which really good feel-good movie, definitely the feel-good movie of the year. Really tough, some tough honorable mentions. Deadpool was really tough not to put on my list. Don't Think Twice, which is a little movie that I really liked. And my big honorable mention is Rogue One. I fought for so long that I did so many drafts of this list where I was trying to sneak Rogue One on there, but I really couldn't again. But that would easily be my number 11. I really love that movie, but there was a lot of good movies this year.
Definitely.
All right, so you want to kick us off with your number 10. We're just going to go back and forth, sharing one apiece.
All right. So my number 10 is going to be Arrival. Arrival was one that me and you both saw. A brand new sci-fi movie. And overall, I was really impressed with the story, the cinematics of this movie. God dang it, what's the girl's name in that again?
Amy Adams?
Yeah, that's right, Amy Adams. Okay, Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner both are fantastic in that, but Amy Adams is definitely the star.
Should have been nominated for an Oscar. She got snubbed.
Yeah, she stepped up drastically, and I thought told a really interesting story that was one of the better sci-fi stories out there.
Yeah, I'll talk about Arrival a little later. But for my number 10, I went with High Rise, which is a Ben Wheatley film starring Tom Hiddleston in it. It's just a very kind of like what we talked about, The Lobster, a different movie that I wasn't expecting, didn't see where it was going. And it kind of starts off, it's just this elegant, classy look at societal structure and kind of the breakdown between the rich and the poor. But then it turns into just chaos and excess and overload, and it's showing you all these things. It's visually just stunning to watch, and I also, really the second time I watched it, I really got more into the story, because the first time I was just kind of watching the visuals whoa, what's happening, but I really liked it more the second time, and I would definitely recommend it because it's a different type of movie, and Tom Hiddleston's great.
Nice. All right, moving on to number 9. My number 9 is going to be War Dogs. War Dogs was another movie we both saw together, and one of those that I was really anticipating going into it just because I thought it was going to be good. And it was one of those that didn't disappoint. A lot of people didn't rate this movie as high as I think it actually should have been. It was not only really funny at times, but also it told a really cool story about that was related to a true story. And yeah, I thought it was really awesome. And there really wasn't a lot of complaints I had from this movie. So yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to say War Dogs is one of my honorable mentions also. I really like that movie. I would say it's definitely very underrated because a lot of people kind of overlooked it, or I think they went in with negative expectations for it, but I thought it was a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
For my number 9, I have Swiss Army Man, which we also saw, just another one. Kind of a theme this year. I like unique movies that give me a different experience than I usually have, and this is definitely the most unique movie of the year. So many interesting things going on at the directors, the Daniels, just the way they're able to bring all these weird ideas together and make it just work. Like all these things on paper, I can't imagine how they would look at that and say, we're going to pull this off, but they did it. Paul Dano, Daniel Radcliffe are great, and just really a great experience. I laughed a lot and, it got emotional at times. It was just a great movie.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to number 8 for me. Number 8 was Jackie for me. Jackie, there's Jackie right here. No, I really enjoyed this movie mainly because I followed the JFK assassination pretty extensively, and I really liked this movie because I thought that it brought the Jackie Kennedy part of it up really well and told that story. Really emotional and really good. Natalie Portman hit it out of the park. Definitely one of the more impressive movies. I actually wasn't thinking this one was going to be turning out good, but it really shocked me, and so yeah.
Yeah, nice. All right, my number 8 is one you mentioned earlier, Arrival. Really, Denis Villeneuve. I think I'm getting his name right now. I've said it so many times wrong. I think I'm finally nailing it. But he is just easily one of the best directors working today. You've got Prisoners, Sicario, Enemy, and now this. And just the way he tackles the sci-fi genre, and this is a very typical sci-fi story, but he does it in such a unique way that it's so interesting to watch. And you're so invested in the story, but then it takes its pivot, and you kind of rethink the entire movie. And I love movies like that. Like you said, Amy Adams definitely should have been nominated for the Oscar. This is a career redefining performance for her.
Yeah.
She's always been a good actress, but I think she elevated herself and showed us what she'll be able to do moving forward. And this is just a great sci-fi movie, which we don't get a lot of really great sci-fi movies anymore. So I really like this one.
All right, moving on to number 7 for me. I'm gonna go with Sully, starring Tom Hanks. As you can tell, I'm a sucker for the true stories, and this one was another one of those. And I think Tom Hanks is one of the best that does it, taking a real story, making it into a movie. This one was really awesome. I really enjoyed it. It was in many ways a thriller at times, even though you kind of knew it was going to happen. But yeah, I thought it was really well. Great visuals, and of course, Tom Hanks did another great movie, and I couldn't leave this one off my list because of that.
And I was really proud of Clint Eastwood for making this a short movie too, not like some of his other ones that just go on forever. This was like a nice hour 40 minutes just in and out, and it was really good. All right, for me, my number 7 is going to be Hell or High Water, which was one that I was raving about in the summertime because it was one of the big surprises on a pretty lackluster summer. But this is just a really great, gritty story following. It's really about 4 characters, and you just follow them in and out. Ben Foster and Jeff Bridges are, of course, great. Jeff Bridges getting nominated for stuff. I think it's awesome that this movie's being recognized because normally a kind of summer movie like this would be overlooked. But I think my standout was Chris Pine, just because, like I said, kind of like Amy Adams, this was a career redefining performance. We've seen him as Captain Kirk and all these things, but now he shows he can be a real actor and kind of carry a movie like this. And this was just really thrilling and fun, and I had a great time with it.
Yeah. Number 6 for me is going to be one that you mentioned earlier, Swiss Army Man. This one, I remember seeing the previews for this, I'm like, what is this? I do not want to see this. And of course he pulls me out into it, and wow, I was super impressed. Really shocking that I just went in and I'm like, wow, I can't get my eyes off this because it was just so amazing. Daniel Radcliffe, you're right, it's strange and weird, and Paul Dano, he's fantastic in this movie as well. I mean, this was a really awesome movie. It was weird and strange, but it also told so much inner stories that was really cool and a really fun time.
Yeah, definitely. And moving on, my number 6 is Blue Jay. Mark Duplass, Sarah Paulson, little movie. It's on Netflix right now. Just really just touching, little emotional movie. It's in black and white, kind of a throwback to old romance movies that you don't get a lot. And what impressed me about this is a very simple movie. There's nothing great cinematically about it. But these 2 characters, that they did a lot of improv for it. Mark Duplass wrote the script, but he just let him and Sarah Paulson just kind of riff off each other and say, what would these characters do? And I thought that made it feel so authentic and real, and I was so into these characters. Very emotional, and just a great ride going through with them, and really interesting. I hope more people check it out.
Nice. Number 5 for me is another one you mentioned earlier, Star Wars Rogue One. This one was just really awesome, mainly because it was the first time we ever seen a Star Wars spin-off movie, and I think it absolutely delivered. It was one of those movies that I've been waiting for in a Star Wars movie. A lot more darker. Obviously, you know, you can look at our review for the movie, but we talk a lot about the awesome spoilers in this movie that really surprised us. But overall, yeah, Star Wars Rogue One really was a good movie and one of the better in a long time for Star Wars.
Yeah, I definitely really enjoyed it. Again, tough to keep off my list, but I think there is problems with it, and a lot of people saying it's the best Star Wars fan film ever made. But you know, we're Star Wars fans, and so it appealed to us in that sense. Moving on to my number 5, getting into our top 5s, Manchester by the Sea. Really, definitely not the feel-good movie of the year. Very depressing and sad, but so real and honest. Such a look at like depression and the fact that there's some things in your life that like people always tell you like life goes on, you'll get back from this, but there's some things that you just won't be able to get over. They'll always be hanging over you. It's just a really real look at that. Casey Affleck, I've been saying it, he needs to win the Oscar. He's getting nominated, he won the Golden Globe. It's all lining up because this was his career performance, I think, and it's one of the best performances I've seen in a long time, and this is just great.
All right, well, I think you summed up my number 4, because that's my number 4.
Awesome.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, Casey Affleck does knock it out of the park. I think, you know, he's one of those guys that, you know, he's always been really solid, but you're right, this was a career defining movie for him. He really stepped up, and you're right, it touched on some really awesome, well, really depressing, but awesome
really
to
awesome,
watch
but...
topics. That was good. So yeah.
Yep. Moving on, my number 4 is changing up from the depressing Manchester by the Sea. I've got the most fun I had in a theater all year, The Nice Guys. Shane Black. I love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, those type of movies. This one just fit right in there. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling have incredible chemistry. I could watch them all day in the TV show, movies, whatever. I'd love to see those characters again. And this is just, like I said, the best time I had in a theater. I've watched this movie 4 times now, and I still crack up in almost all the jokes, and the storyline makes a lot more sense to me now, and I'm into it, so that's why I felt justified putting it this high on my list, because for a while I was just like, I really enjoyed it, but I don't get the plot, like a lot of people say, but now I do, and I just think it's a great movie and another overlooked one from this year.
Yeah. Okay, going to our top 3 now.
Yep.
Number 3 for
Down
me
to it.
was Mel Gibson's Hacksaw Ridge. Saw this one and yeah, was blown away by the visuals, the warlike feel. Andrew Garfield did a fantastic job. Didn't really expect him to be great in this type of role, but wow, he did a great job. Told a really awesome story. You know, while digging a little Hollywood at times, I thought that this movie was pretty darn, like visually, it looked fantastic. I mean, it looked like you were right there with him. And that's why I really enjoyed this movie. And yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot to not like about this movie just based on how great it looked and felt.
Yeah, definitely the best war action in a long time. Cause I jumped a couple times in the theater on this because it was so real. Mel Gibson, good to see him get nominated. He's being welcomed back into the club a little bit there, and well deserved. For my number 3, my top 3, really hard to scramble out. My number 1, I could pretty safely say is my number 1, but I was kind of mixing up the order here. But with number 3, I went with Moonlight, Barry Jenkins movie. A lot of people are rooting for this one, and it's deservedly so. This is just a great, very subtle film, subtly very emotional though, gets you in the sweet spots. And it's just kind of like, I couldn't say this was my favorite film of the year because it's like, I couldn't get that into it. Like, I can't say this is my favorite movie. I'm loving all this personally for me, but this is probably the best made movie of the year because I think it's just perfectly constructed, the 3-act structure, and the 3 actors. This movie could not work. There's 3 different actors, and if you felt like a different vibe from one of them, then it wouldn't work, but all of them, they translate perfectly their arcs into the next one, and you can see the younger one in the older one's eyes and what he's doing. I think this is just beautifully pulled off, and definitely I would have no problems with this one Best Picture because it's very well done.
Yeah, it's definitely key in that type of movie to continue to see the progression through the ages. All right, number 2 for me is one that you did mention earlier. It's The Nice Guys.
Nice.
This one was nice, yes.
Nice.
No, it was great. You're right. The relationship between Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling was fantastic, as you noted. lots of funny jokes, and really some great action. I mean, this movie had a little bit of everything in it, and it told a really fun, kind of classic story, as you noted. And yeah, it felt like a really, really good TV show brought to life, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, they don't make them like that no more.
Yeah.
My number 2, really getting into it. This is the one that I've been putting off doing the list until I could see. I finally got to see it, Martin Scorsese's Silence. And I knew this was going to be a great movie. You know, it was going to be well shot, well acted, well directed, all that stuff. But I didn't expect to get so into it, into a 2-hour, 40-minute movie as I did. It kind of, I won't say it flew by, because obviously 3 hours doesn't fly by, but I never felt it. And I was so into it. And the themes this movie explores about religion, I think even if you're not like devoted to a religion, even if just the questions you have about it are brought up in this movie and they make you think. And this is definitely, my brain loved this movie the most in 2016. My heart is with my number 1, but my brain, I've been thinking about this movie ever since I saw it. Andrew Garfield, like you said, he was great in Hacksaw Ridge. He's having a great year because he was awesome in this as well. Adam Driver as well. Martin Scorsese, this is his passion project. He funded most of it, and you can just see that passion through the screen. I really loved Silence, and I was surprised by how much I'm still thinking about it.
Very nice.
Number 1.
All right, number 1. Might be a little shocking, but at the same time, I think that this one was the one that I came out and said, I really enjoyed it. And it was one that surprised me. It was one that I came out and said, you know, I want to recommend this to people. And that would have to be Hell or High Water.
Nice.
It's going to be my number 1.
Nice.
I thought that this one was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was super engaging. I loved the character that Jeff Bridges played. And you're right, Chris Pine comes out and does fantastic. Ben Foster comes out and does fantastic. There's a great relationship between them. There's great side characters. And of course, just an awesome story full of a bunch of action, a little bit of a thriller at times. This thing just brought everything to you and told a really awesome, again, classic story that was just something that completely surprised me.
Yeah, glad to see that topping off, because I knew you liked it. I didn't know how much you liked it, though. But good to see. And for my number 1, you could probably tell based on my reaction when he mentioned it a little earlier. And I said my brain loves Silence, but my heart is with La La Land, my number 1 movie. And this one's getting the backlash now because it got 14 nominations for the Oscars, and everyone loves it. So if you haven't seen it, or if you just kind of liked it, people are revolting against it. But for me, I'm one of those people that love it, and I don't care about the hate, because it's just such, Damien Chazelle, just such a lovely movie. And to see the musical brought back in this way, and I didn't mind that it kind of loses the musical for when it gets into the story. Like, there's a lot of songs, then it kind of goes just to the story. But I'm not a big fan of musicals, so I didn't mind that, because I love the story. I love the 2 characters and kind of the flaws each one of them has, and why they may or may not be perfect for each other. Emma Stone, Ryan Gosling, amazing chemistry, I thought. And just overall, just the best experience I had all year, just thinking about the movie and watching it unfold. I was just in awe of it. Loved the ending. Just all around, I just loved this movie so much. Again, I could say there's better movies made this year. My number 2 and number 3, I think Silence and Moonlight are better made movies. But for me, the one I love the most, that I just want to see over and over again, is La La Land.
Sweet.
So you'll have to see it.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Yeah, ignore the 14 nominations and all the hate. It's going to be hard, but just, if you haven't seen it yet, try to see it with an open mind, because there's a lot going on around it now, but it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so thank you guys for watching this video. That was our top 10 movies of 2016. Let us know down below what your top 10 movies of the year were and what movies you're looking forward to in 2017. J&J Reviews.
Signing out.